So,
Okay, Justice, Equality, Diversity, Inclusion Update.
so we have a presentation. So I'm introduced to you our JEDIs, Leticia Diaz-Garcia and Tamisha Allen-Smith, and they have an update on what we're doing with diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice.
Good afternoon or good night.
It's gonna be morning.
As Mr. Burns mentioned, we're Leticia Diaz-Garcia and
Tamisha Allen-Smith.
then we're the Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Coordinators for the district, and we're excited to be here to provide some updates and let you know what's going on, what's been going on with our position.
So a few of our goals at a glance, we've been able to cover a few things. This is a foundational first-year position, and so some of the things that we have been driving based on the goals that we're working on based on the district's key strategies for the year is professional development, youth engagement celebrations, awareness, and education, grants, and framework. So we'll be going into depth a little bit about what we've been doing throughout the year. You know who we are, and so we can go nowhere without our beautiful infographic, so we couldn't move on without this, because what we'd like to cover and show you within a screenshot or one screen capture is centering youth wellness. We're really trying to build the whole human here, and so each category that you see here listed is an extension of our efforts to meet the needs of our whole child or whole human. So youth engagement and really engaging and bolstering and uplifting the voices of our youth, our students. Career, college, and community readiness, working with counselors, all the same, and making sure that we are focusing on LCAP Goal 1 and making sure that all of our students are career and community, college, career, and community ready. DEI is a new arm that's been added to this, as of course we as JEDIs are now championing this work or leading this work, but it's not just the work that we're doing, and we're trying to collaborate with, we are collaborating with all members of the district to make sure that our policies and the activities and things that we're doing in the district are inclusive and that all students are engaged in a learning environment that's safe.
And this includes working with the community, like adult learning, us as adults, as JEDIs, all staff members, and also the community members, parents, and others. Aligning our work with other projects we have, or like PBIS and transformative social emotional learning. I like to emphasize the transformative aspect. So it's not just about, and this connects to youth engagement, how can we actually transform the systems of oppression that is causing trauma and like lack of well-being for our students and community, and change them. And then just restorative practices, not as a behavior management tool, but as a teaching mindset or a way of interacting with others. How do we interact with others in our environment in a way that we're building relationships and really like treating each other as humans and repairing harm when it's done.
And again, our goals at a glance based on the district's key strategies for the year is adult education, youth engagement, celebrations, awareness and education, grants, and the framework that is in our future.
So something we've been doing, we start off with like spatial projects. So we've been working on the State Seal of Civic Engagement and Project Soapbox, along with, well, there's no more social studies curriculum specialist, but also ed services. We want to really validate our students' work towards towards civic engagement and motivate students to do so as well. And with our partnership with MICVA Challenge, we trained 18 teachers on the MICVA curriculum. We had students engaged in Project Soapbox, so they created their own speeches, and we had the first in-person presentation, Soapbox presentations, where we had 10 finalists present. We're still, we also went with Yoa Sama and Coralie Mullen and Mark Gomez to like ethnic studies classes, to language classes, to talk about the State Seal of Civic Engagement and the State Seal by Literacy. We also work with the instructional leadership team and providing equity PD sessions and adult learning there. And we work with Ms. Henry at Rancho San Juan and her work with Black Girl Magic and Black Boy Joy to help support her in those endeavors.
What's very exciting is our adult learning. I know we speak a lot about our students and how we must empower, uplift, and educate, and so we have to do our due diligence as the adults that are guiding these students, and so we have been able to provide 12 plus professional development opportunities for our teachers, and I just have to give kudos to the teachers who are watching on YouTube because we're not here, but kudos for them going above and beyond because these are optional. These were not mandatory. And so they took the time to take part in our LGBTQ PD Day, instructional leadership teams. There was a classified training as well. And so what I like to highlight is we had 32 participants at our LGBTQ plus PD Day. We had healing centered engagement where these book clubs were meeting twice a month or once a month, and we had 38 participants in that. We went through 16 weeks? Well, it was a lot of hours that we had to put in to become healing centered engaged educators, and we had 69 educators actually qualify, become certified. We have 18 participants in our Teaching for Black Lives Study Club. We've had mindful educator training. We've had our district-wide anti-bias training, and we're going to be sharing some feedback from that. We've had our MICFA Action Civics training, which we had 18 teachers participate in that, and our task force for LGBTQ. And then we actually had staff, kudos to La Paz Middle School, who reached out to us several times and asked us to come present to their staff as well. And then, of course, the classified presentation, classified asked us to be a part of their presentations or their day of training earlier in the year. So these are a few pictures. We've been able to participate in Ethnic Studies Conference at Hartnell. They've asked us to be a part of that. Our restorative justice practitioners have been diligent and speaking to their staff at their sites on what restorative practices look like and how they can be incorporated. And of course, we like to highlight the healing-centered engagement and hopefully continue that for more of our educators.
So now we're moving on to, as Tamisha mentioned, we had the district-wide staff training on bias and anti-bias. There's about 1,600 staff members, and 1,032 staff members responded to the survey. So that gives us about 65% of the respondents, and we have to, point out that there's a 35% non-response bias that we can't really generalize it potentially to the population. But it's still good to see an initial analysis of the results. There's still more to go over. So I'll go over the initial analysis. As I mentioned, about 65% of the staff members completed the survey. The majority believed the videos were informative, with the average being 3.96 and the median of a 4 out of 5. And 90% of the respondents felt like they understand implicit bias better. Also, we saw a lot of task force interest. So 186 individuals demonstrated interest in joining a task force to continue this work. So we'll be reaching out to them later to see how to continue the work with them in a task force. A lot of the respondents, 243 participants, asked for further training. So people want to continue this work. Particularly, they want more hands-on and interactive training. And further, 33 of the respondents asked for further dialogue and conversation. So they want to be able to talk to their colleagues, and each other, and really learn about their own biases, how to address them in others and themselves, and how to really work. They also asked for, there was other suggestions, such as developing action plans, partnering with other organizations, and changing the time of the training. And a lot of those suggestions were also like training and education for the students and families. And finally, in terms of transparency, even though they're outliers, we wanted to share this other feedback. One respondent shared that we need to address anti-whiteness. Another believes this work is pushing out Christianity, and one feels we should stop this work altogether. So just want to be transparent and show the different numbers. And this is mostly response on what the next steps. But there's still more analysis to be done to continue this work.
And so we've had 17 women complete the Girasol training. We had 15 members complete our Joven Noble training, and we also conducted staff visits, actual site visits to health and science and middle college in San Diego, who actually has a robust restorative justice practice incorporated into their school. And so we're using them as a model, a learning hub for us and how we can model that here. We just like to brag more on our teachers who took the time to participate in our LGBTQ PD Day. There were 32 participants, and this was talking about legal responsibilities, which is very important when we're handling our students and making sure that the space is safe for our students.
And here, even as just, 9 months now?
Yeah.
In this role, we've also been participating in our own adult learning. For example, we attended the Dream Defer conference in Chicago. And we also presented at the presented at the CSLA conference. We did a presentation, and we gave 2 presentations at the CCSS conference. So we're talking about anti-racism in education, and also increasing like the state's still civic engagement involvement with our students.
And so one thing I have to say about this is we put Salinas Union High School District on the map for something positive. While we have this there is a negative cloud due to racism in our district, but when we're going to these conferences and we're talking about the heavy lift that we're about to do in this district, people are very, very inspired. And although we have a lot of work that we need to do as a district, we are steps ahead of many people that are around us. So that is kudos to everyone who's supporting that type of work.
So next we're talking about youth engagement and how we engage in the youth. So overall, we're working towards the state seal of civic engagement, particularly to Project Soapbox. We have affinity groups. Right now, we're particularly focusing on students with disabilities, Black and African American students, and LGBTQ+ students. But we know there's a lot of other students that also need affinity groups. We've conducted student surveys and done other work. Here we have a picture of about 20 students from from Mount Toro and Rancho San Juan who attended the epicenter, visited the epicenter, and we have a few others from North High going at the end of the month.
An empowerment, a girls empowerment event held at Mount Toro earlier in the year, and so we're getting great feedback from the community and from students, holding space for them to feel like they belong and they are seen and heard.
And part of the youth engagement is focusing on celebrations and joy. So we've talked about anti-racism, but it's not just about what we're working against, but what we're working towards. So part of it is celebrating our humanity, celebrating our history, our identity, and this is what we've been trying to do during this year through different events, including a homecoming cookout, Black History musical, for which about 300 students attended, about 50 per school. And then also the awareness, where all the for against slurs, that was attended by all middle school students and about 50 per high school.
And so what we'd like to focus on, but one thing that we did want to focus on, like Leticia was saying, is while we are trying to eradicate hate and racism, we still must celebrate what we do have, and we do have a robust community here, a community of allies as well. And one thing that was broken within our district is the trust of the Black community. And so one thing, and I appreciate Superintendent Burns being behind this, is really we're trying to build a bridge. We're trying to rebuild that relationship. It's about rebuilding a relationship. And so what we did was focus on building Black families, and so we had a homecoming cookout and this is aligned with HBCU around that time when there's homecoming and people are visiting. It's homecoming around in our district as well. And so they were invited, and we had swag, we had food, we had just a space to be who they were, who we are, and to also show that we as a district are in support of celebrating them, their whole selves, their black skin, their black families. We want to know we want to hear their voice. And so we wanted to bring them together in a space that was not so intense like a board meeting, but it was something that was outside, fun, and free. And so there's some pictures, there were many smiles. We had the band from Rancho San Juan, the drum line that came out from Rancho San Juan Jump House. A lot of great food, a lot of great dancing and people, and a lot of great feedback. And so this takes us into the awareness and education piece, where we're focusing on our students due to the LCAP, and it's LCAP Goal 3, where we're really focusing on our students with disabilities. So Circle of Friends is our inclusion our inclusion club, where we're really connecting our students with disabilities with the general population, students of different abilities. Our LGBTQ task force, we are going to be participating in the Day of Silence this Friday, and then Safe Space stickers, and then the schoolyard wrap. And so this is bringing awareness and making sure that our district is really looking at our differences not as deficits, but when you educate other people about everyone else, you're really going to find the assets. So that's what we're really trying to focus on awareness and education.
Yeah, as Tamisha mentioned, we're participating in the Day of Silence, or the LGBTQ plus task force that was started last year. Together we were thinking about how we can support our students and staff and community. GLSEN has the Day of Silence. It's going to be this Friday, April 14th. And we asked the community members to just share their story, being an ally or part of the LGBTQ plus community. So even though it says the deadline already passed, if you have stories, please submit them as well. We'll publish them on Friday. And some students and staff are going to be participating, wearing ribbons and masks, engaging in the Day of Silence. But then we're also breaking our silence with our stories so that other people can see just our stories, who we are.
And so we're almost at the end. Thank you for bearing with us. So we did apply for a few grants. We did apply for the anti-bias grant, and we were denied because it actually is a good thing. It's not we wanted the money because we want more resources, but it was a good thing because, like I said before, the awardees of that grant had not taken any type of steps toward incorporating diversity, equity, or inclusion. So we must give ourselves, like we said, we're trying to eradicate things, but we must celebrate ourselves as well. Salinas Union High School District, we are on the right path. We have already started that work. We did apply for the It Gets Better grant. Have we gotten word on that yet? Haven't gotten word on that yet. And then the California CERTS It Gets Better grant supports our LGBTQ students and staff. And then we have the California CERTS grant, which aligns with our California Seal of Civic Engagement. We're still working on our framework. These are the next steps where we're bringing in community equity training. We're working with the board, our study sessions, all of these things, and really making sure that we're creating a framework that's inclusive of restorative justice action plan. And we're focusing on that LCAP goal, making sure that we're making all of our spaces here at Salinas Union High School District safe for all students and staff.
And there's links to those different proposals and drafts. The PD partner options, the restorative justice facilitator action plan, and then the planning guide for a task force. And that moves us, again, like Tamisha said, to our next steps, where we're here facilitating the work and coordinating, but this is a communal work, so we have to get the community involved in a productive and meaningful way. To create our common vision for the district and work towards those next steps. Some of the ideas are conducting an equity audit. We know there is bias and racism, but to see which aspects we can actually address and which ones we should address next. Convening the task force, including those 186 people and others, so not just staff members, but also community members, students, parents. creating a framework along with that task force, and then plan changes based on the framework goals. So this should be a long-term action plan, so that it can be sustainable. And then, based on what we heard from the surveys, we need to continue PTs and trainings, but some that are interactive and include dialogue, and that are continuous.
So we appreciate the opportunity to serve in this capacity. We have a lot more work ahead of us, and we are here to help facilitate that, and we look forward to convening with the board and the task force to continue this work. So thank you.
Any questions?
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm not sure if you were here earlier when we had a lot more people in the audience, and there was statements that were said to us as far as like they need systems in place, they need help in assuring that the students, that everybody feels safe on campus. They want help with safe schools. Did you guys hear all those statements that were being said? So those statements is things that you keep in mind when you're preparing some of these trainings to help with the staff?
Absolutely.
Okay. Because that's what the need is, right?
And that's
Absolutely.
what we need, the whole community, people, different staff members, because we might have blind spots, biases, and
Right.
we need to be able to hear from other people and
Yes.
the people working directly with the students, especially in the students and parents, so that we can know the needs and address them.
Because those are the needs, so if there's needs that you can put into your training, but also let us know what we can do to help to assure that all this gets met. Because, I mean, we heard it very loud today, and so we need to address it.
Yes, we've been hearing it very loud since 2020. So we're definitely going to be addressing this as a community.
And we've been working with Dr. Christmas and Mr. Burns, Superintendent Burns, about some of these next steps, so you should be hearing in the next few soon.
Yeah.
Just like different consultants to help us with this, or different things to approve.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
I have a quick question, sorry, I know it's late.
That's fine.
So then, just to piggyback on her comment, this was one of my questions, as it relates to the work being done at Hardin Middle School, most of the comments today were related to that. So is there some extra effort put there right now
We-
that, or, you know, is there anything that we can do to support that effort? Because I'm hearing it from Hardin.
Yes, we actually have a affinity group that's been running, that's been going with Hardin even before the incident happened with schoolyard rap, which we feel actually had an impact with at least the students that we were meeting with. They were able to handle it or go talk to somebody that they trusted and met within that affinity group. And so we're going to continue that work and extend from that point. But we are at Hardin Middle School. We've already had 2 meetings during advisory time, and we actually will be going back either this Friday or next Friday. And we're working with our community partner, Rigorous Love, to address some of those things.
Okay, and then on the state civic engagement seal, is that something that the state of California Department of Education gives? And is this the first time it's happening, or?
This is the second year that this district is participating in it. Yes, last year was the first year. We had 63 students who were eligible and got the seal, 3 of them being juniors. And this is the second year, but like the first year, more in person. And we're trying to build it, streamline it, so that it becomes more of a, a lot of students.
They want to, they want to get it.
Yes.
And also, it should be incorporated into the curriculum, so that it's just like an automatic, basically.
Yeah. And then one more question on La Cultura Cura. You said that 18, is it parents, completed the Girasol training?
It
So
was-
so what exactly, and what schools, or how do they serve, and how do they coordinate with you?
The Girasol training is geared towards women, so it's 18 women. It was, several of them were restorative justice facilitators. There was also counselors and social workers. They've been working with us for a few years, so there's several other staff members that already been certified before, but this year it was 18 staff members throughout the district.
So they're holding space for young women to be able to express themselves and be who they are, and share and confide in with the leaders of those circles.
Okay, I'll probably do a follow-up with you guys, but thank you.
Anybody else? On the seal, Do they have something like a sash to wear for graduation too?
There's gonna be a medallion.
Medallion, okay, very good.
Cool.
And then
That's
on your,
awesome.
on your PDs, what day of the week and time are you doing your PDs?
Well, we've been doing them after school, so this year have been
Okay.
all after school except for the one that we had during, the school day. But, oh, that was one.
The
Okay.
LGBTQ day was during the school day. One of them was like a day that there was no other PDs and it was
Mm-hmm.
mostly teachers, and there was another day where we had like classified staff. But most of the book clubs and other PDs have been after school hours, mostly Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday.
Is there any way we can film it and then have them do the PD on their own time, on the computer at home?
I think that's an idea, but I think.
I know
based
you
off
want
of-
interaction, but.
Yeah, I think based off of what staffers asking for is really trying to be interactive and having a space to be able to have some dialogue.
And
Okay.
then on their own time, they might still do it, but we
Right.
should also compensate them for the
that
extra
time.
time that they put in.
Yeah, it's some of the vendors we work with, they will not let you tape
Right.
and use their material, so, you know, we have to pay them as
That's
well.
how we can get
for the
more
time.
people involved.
Yeah,
Yes.
That way.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody else?
Just real quick, so I want to thank you both, I appreciate
Yes.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
your presentation. And I want to remind everybody that this is a marathon, and there are times when we need to sprint. There's times when we need to fall down and cry, but it's a marathon, and if we continue along the marathon moving forward, then the work will be meaningful, right? So I appreciate your work, and I know there's times when you've contacted me and you feel like you took a step forward and 2 steps back at the same time, so, but we'll keep on the path, so thank you very much.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you.